Right now, as the dust settles on one of the most remarkable Premier League seasons in recent memory, Arsenal find themselves at a crossroads. The title is won, the trophy is lifted. But the work is far from over. In fact, the most important decisions of this entire project are being made right now, in offices, on phones, and in quiet conversations between agents and sporting directors. This is not a moment for celebration alone. This is a moment for action. Because winning the Premier League after 22 long years was not the finish line. It was the starting pistol for an even bigger challenge, staying at the top, defending that crown, and doing it against clubs that will spend heavily this summer to close the gap. The situation is serious, the situation is urgent, and the situation involves multiple players, multiple contracts, multiple transfer targets, and at least one player that one of the biggest clubs in the world wants to take away from Arsenal. So let us break all of it down together, every confirmed move, every genuine rumour, every contract decision that Arsenal must get right this summer. Because if they get these decisions wrong, they will not be lifting that trophy again next May. Before we go deeper, let me be clear about what is at stake here. Arsenal are not just tinkering around the edges of their squad. The decisions being made right now will define the next 2 to 3 years of this club. There are experienced players whose contracts are expiring. There is a world-class defender being chased by Real Madrid. There are young talents whose futures hang in the balance. And there are transfer targets that, if signed, could make this Arsenal side genuinely unstoppable. The pressure is real, the competition is watching. And every delay, every wrong decision, every contract left unresolved is an opportunity for a rival to gain ground. If you want this level of detailed analysis on every Arsenal story this summer, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Because this channel is going to cover every single development as it happens. Do not miss a thing. Now, let us get into it. The full Arsenal summer breakdown. Leandro Trossard. The exit conversation has begun. The situation with Leandro Trossard is now moving towards a conclusion, and the signs point firmly towards a departure. Besiktas are in active talks with Arsenal over a summer deal for the Belgian winger. A serious offer is expected from the Turkish club in the coming days. Now let me put this in context for you. Trossard has been a reliable and important squad player for Arsenal. He has scored vital goals. He has contributed in big moments. But the reality for the club is that his contract situation has become complicated. His deal is set to expire in just over 12 months. Arsenal did adjust his contract last summer to improve his salary, but that only delayed the decision. It did not resolve it. The club now faces a simple choice. Sell Trossard this summer and receive a fee, or allow his contract to run down and risk losing him for nothing next year. For a club that is carefully managing its financial sustainability, selling now is the logical move if the right offer arrives. Besiktas making their approach is not a surprise. What matters now is whether Arsenal can get a satisfactory fee before that contract situation weakens their negotiating position even further. This is a story that will move quickly. Gabriel Martinelli, sell or extend, Arsenal must decide. Alongside Trossard, Gabriel Martinelli finds himself in a strikingly similar position. Martinelli has 1 year remaining on his current contract. Arsenal do hold an option to extend that deal until 2028, but the evidence suggests the club prefers to resolve these situations before reaching that point rather than relying on a late extension. This is a genuinely fascinating situation. Martinelli is 24 years old. He is still developing. He is still young enough to be considered a long-term asset. And yet Arsenal have to make a major decision about his future this summer. Now, Bakary Sagna, the former Arsenal right-back, has offered an interesting perspective on this. He is pleased with both Trossard and Martinelli. He believes Martinelli is still very young and will continue to improve. He also pointed out that having Trossard ahead of him in competition brings out the best in Martinelli. Sagna went further and said that, in his view, Arsenal do not need to add any players to the squad. That is an opinion worth hearing. But the reality for the club is that contract situations cannot be left unresolved, regardless of opinions about squad quality. Arsenal will need to either tie Martinelli down to a new long-term deal or consider whether this summer is the right moment to maximise his value in the transfer market. Both options are on the table right now. Ethan Nwaneri, pure profit on the table. Here is a name that might surprise some supporters when they see it in a potential departures list. Ethan Nwaneri. The young attacking midfielder spent the second half of last season on loan at Marseille. And now, according to what is known, he could be considered a potential sale this summer. The key detail here is this. Because Nwaneri came through the Arsenal Academy, any transfer fee received for him would be booked entirely as profit. That is a significant financial incentive for the club. Every pound received goes straight to the bottom line and, more importantly, goes straight back into the transfer budget for incoming signings. The evidence suggests Arsenal are being pragmatic here. If a club comes in with a meaningful offer for Nwaneri, it becomes very difficult to say no when you consider what that money could be reinvested into. This is smart financial management from a club that has clearly learned from the past. The academy is not just a development pathway, it is also a financial lever that Arsenal know how to use. Alexi Rojas, a free departure confirmed. This one is confirmed. Arsenal are set to lose academy goalkeeper Alexi Rojas this summer. The 20-year-old has rejected a new contract offer, and both parties have failed to reach an agreement. The core issue is playing time. Rojas wants a clearer pathway into senior football. At Arsenal, that pathway is not available to him right now. He is a Colombia under-20 international with genuine ambition, and he has made the decision to seek first-team football elsewhere. He will leave as a free transfer. For Arsenal, this is a clean exit. There is no financial loss to speak of. For Rojas himself, this is a brave and understandable decision. He is 20 years old. He needs to play. And sometimes the best thing a young goalkeeper can do is leave a giant club and find a place where he will actually develop week by week. Arsenal will wish him well. But their goalkeeping department at the senior level remains strong, so this departure does not create any urgency in the transfer market. Ricardo Calafiori, Real Madrid are coming. Arsenal are holding firm. Now we get to the story that has the potential to define Arsenal's entire summer. Ricardo Calafiori, and the situation around him is as clear as it is tense. Real Madrid, under their new manager Jose Mourinho, have made contact about Calafiori. Mourinho has personally identified the Arsenal defender as a key target this summer. That is not speculation. That is confirmed. And yet Arsenal's position is equally clear. The club views Calafiori as an important part of the squad and a central part of their long-term plans. They have no intention of making a deal easy. That last point matters enormously. Not that they will refuse to talk, not that they have closed the door, but that they will not be making it easy. They know what they have, and they are determined to protect it. Now, what makes Calafiori so valuable? The situation is that he offers something almost unique in world football right now. He is a defender who can operate effectively at both left-back and centre-back. He brings an unpredictable attacking threat from the back line that very few defenders in any league can match. He is 24 years old. He has his peak years ahead of him. Yes, injuries have disrupted his time at Arsenal. That is acknowledged. But when he has been fit and available, his impact has been clear. The evidence suggests that losing him would create a gap that would be extraordinarily difficult to fill. Arsenal do have cover in those positions. Piero Hincapié and Miles Lewis-Skelly can both operate on the left side, but neither offers the same kind of creative and unpredictable influence from deep that Calafiori brings. On the Real Madrid side of this story, Roberto Carlos, the club legend, was asked to rank current left-backs. He rated Real Madrid's Álvaro Carreras above Calafiori. But let us be honest about what that means. Roberto Carlos has obvious ties to Real Madrid. He also rated Carreras above Nuno Mendes of Paris Saint-Germain, who made the Champions League team of the season. That ranking tells you more about loyalty than it does about genuine assessment. The reality for the club, for Arsenal that is this. Mourinho wants Calafiori personally. Real Madrid are a club with enormous resources, and Arsenal are going to be tested on whether they can hold firm. The coming weeks will be very revealing. Sandro Tonali, a genuine interest. But no advanced talks yet. Let us be careful and precise here because the details matter. Arsenal hold genuine interest in Sandro Tonali, the Newcastle United midfielder. The club highly rates him. Contact has been made with people close to the player to assess the possibility of a future deal. However, it is critical to state clearly, there are no advanced talks. There are no official bids at this stage. This is a rumour supported by genuine background interest, but it is nowhere near a done deal. Why is Tonali on Arsenal's radar? The evidence suggests it comes down to what their midfield might need. Arsenal's midfield has been described as incredibly efficient this season. But efficiency alone does not win Champions League finals, as the club discovered this year. Adding a player with Tonali's physicality, technical ability and experience could give them another dimension in the engine room. Whether that interest develops into a concrete pursuit this summer remains to be seen. For now, file this under genuine interest but early stage. Honest Ahanor, the name you need to know. Here is one of the most intriguing names in this entire summer picture. Honest Ahanor, an 18-year-old defender currently at Atalanta. Arsenal are among several top European clubs monitoring him. Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Manchester City and Chelsea are also watching. Atalanta are demanding 60 million euros and are reportedly unwilling to negotiate below that figure. That is a significant asking price for an 18-year-old. But it reflects the level of competition for his signature and the belief Atalanta have in what they have developed. For Arsenal, this represents an interesting potential investment in the future of their defensive line. At 18, Ahanor would not be expected to walk straight into the first team. But at a club that has shown it can develop young talent, the logic is clear. The challenge is straightforward. At 60 million euros minimum, Arsenal would be competing with some of the wealthiest clubs in European football for his signature. This is a story to watch very closely throughout the summer. William Saliba, the best in the world. In the middle of all this transfer activity, it is worth pausing to appreciate what Arsenal already have. William Saliba has now joined Virgil van Dijk as one of only two centre-backs in history to reach a £100 million market value, the best in the world. That phrase is being used about an Arsenal defender, and the evidence from this past season absolutely supports that description. Saliba has been extraordinary. Consistent, dominant, composed and commanding. He is the foundation on which everything Arsenal do defensively is built. This valuation also sends a message to any club that might consider approaching for him. He is not available, and even if he were, the price would be astronomical. This is a player Arsenal must build around for the next decade. Paul Merson, the vision of an unstoppable Arsenal. Now let us talk about what Arsenal could become with the right additions. Paul Merson, the former Arsenal player, has offered a very specific vision of what he believes his old club needs to become truly dominant. He wants Arsenal to sign Desire Doué from Paris Saint-Germain and Julian Alvarez from Atletico Madrid. His words were direct and powerful. He said, and I want you to hear this clearly, that if Arsenal signed both of those players, he would dread to think who could stop them. That is a remarkable statement. And it deserves serious analysis. Julian Alvarez is an elite attacking player. His ability to press, combine and finish at the highest level is well established. However, the reality of signing him is extremely complicated. Atletico Madrid are demanding his full release clause. That figure stands at €500 million. €500 million. That is not a negotiating position. That is Atletico Madrid telling the world they do not want to sell. Desire Doué at Paris Saint-Germain is a different kind of player. Dynamic, creative and capable of operating across the front line with real effectiveness. Whether Paris Saint-Germain would even entertain selling him this summer is another question entirely. If they are willing to negotiate, the fee will still be enormous. Merson's vision is compelling. The evidence supports his logic. Arsenal's defence and midfield are already world-class. Their attack remains the area where elite quality could make the biggest difference. But the financial reality of pursuing both Doué and Alvarez simultaneously would require extraordinary resources. Lewis-Skelly, the perfect moment. There is one more piece of this summer's story that deserves recognition, and it is not about a transfer, it is about timing and management. The conversation around Lewis-Skelly's transition into midfield has been fascinating. The analysis being offered is this. It would be easy to say that moving him to midfield earlier in the season would have helped Arsenal win the title sooner, but that misses the full picture. Lewis-Skelly was struggling for form before his midfield transition. He then trained specifically for that role for 3 months. He only came into the team when he was genuinely ready. Mikel Arteta identified that moment precisely and made the move at exactly the right time. That kind of patient, precise management is what separates good coaches from great ones. The evidence suggests Arteta trusted his process and trusted his player, and it paid off in the most important way possible, with a Premier League title, Arsenal and fanatics, revenue from everywhere. One final element of this summer picture is worth discussing. Arsenal's commercial operation. The partnership with Fanatics that launched in January is already delivering impressive returns. The Max Dowman Tops Now card sold over 75,000 copies at £11.99 each. That generated more than £800,000 in revenue from a single card release. Only the Lionel Messi and Stephen Curry Tops Now releases have outperformed that figure since the product launched. Dowman's card even outperformed a release tied to Lamine Yamal. The deal is expected to generate millions in royalties for Arsenal and has already surpassed the club's previous trading card partnerships. This matters beyond the headline numbers. A commercially strong Arsenal is an Arsenal that can compete financially in the transfer market. Revenue from multiple streams gives the club flexibility. And flexibility this summer is everything. Closing analysis. So let us bring all of this together. Arsenal are entering this summer as Premier League champions. But the challenges ahead are clear and complex. They must resolve the futures of Martinelli and Trossard before those contracts expire and they lose value. They must defend Calafiori against a Real Madrid pursuit backed by one of football's most persuasive managers. They must decide on young talents like Nwaneri and handle the departure of Rojas with minimal disruption. They are also in the early stages of building something even bigger. Tonali represents potential midfield reinforcement. Ahanor represents long-term defensive investment. And if the vision painted around Doué and Alvarez ever becomes reality, the idea of stopping Arsenal becomes genuinely difficult to imagine. The situation is not just about this summer. Every decision made in the next 3 months will echo through the next 3 seasons. Arsenal have the momentum, they have the manager, they have the foundations. Now they need the precision and the boldness to take the next step. This is the summer that defines whether Arsenal stay at the top or whether the gap begins to close again. The work starts now. And Tessa, Arsenal analyst, will be here for every single moment of it. Make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you have notifications turned on because this summer is going to move fast. And you do not want to miss a single development. Thank you for watching. This is Tessa, Arsenal analyst, and we will see you in the next one.